All right, guys. This is going to be your Tuesday tip video. It's going to be focusing on how to memorize music, how to approach that. Of course, this will be kind of more geared towards kids who will be in marching band because that's who needs it most immediately. But if you're not going to be in marching band next year, like you're a younger middle schooler, that's okay for two reasons. One, eventually you will be in the marching band. And two, you can apply these skills to any music. Like if you're trying to learn some scales and you want to memorize those, or you have a tricky section of a piece of music, sometimes it's helpful to memorize it so you don't have the mental block of looking at it and being like, oh, this is a hard part. So these skills can be applied no matter what, but of course they will be more catered towards kids who will be marching next year because that's who needs to memorize music. So I'm just going to talk you through the procedure we would use in class, like when we would memorize music, how I would walk you guys through it. There are a billion ways to try to memorize music. This is what seems to work best for most people. It seems to work best in a shorter amount of time. So first things first, make sure you know the music that you want to memorize. For this example, I'll be singing along with the national anthem. That's what we're memorizing, which if you're going to be in band next year, you do have to have that memorized. So first thing you need to do is make sure you can play that song, with the music. So don't try to memorize it until you know how it's supposed to sound without it. So if you're singing, or not singing, you're in band. If you're playing the national anthem and you're not sure how a certain section goes while you're looking at the music, you're not going to be able to memorize it. It's a waste of time to try. So learn your music with the music first. Like really learn it. Really know what accidentals, key signature, time signature. If there's any retardandos, fermatas, anything, literally anything, make sure you know it when you're looking at it. Okay. Next step, once you can play through it with the music, you're going to want to chunk it up. We break the music apart into little small sections that are easier to manage, and we memorize them one by one and then string them together slowly until we have the whole song. So let's take the national anthem, for example. Bum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum bum bum. You can make that a chunk. I would probably go one further. Bum 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 ba ba bum ba 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 bum. Okay, I would probably do that whole first phrase as one chunk. But you can do it in as short or long of chunks as you feel comfortable. So I would probably go through that whole phrase. You're going to play just that chunk with the music, like twice. Just make sure you know what that chunk is. By this point, you should know how to play it because you already know how to play the music with the music. But we're focusing on hearing where the beginning and end of that chunk is. So you're going to use your music and play just that chunk. Okay, just a couple times. Then try it without music and see how it goes. And don't stop if you mess up. Force yourself to keep going, no matter what, okay? And then once you've played through it memorized or tried to play through it memorized once, turn it around or open your eyes or whatever you're doing and look at the music. And look at what you missed, right? Check the things that you messed up on, or maybe you just need to refresh yourself overall and then try it again. Check your mistakes, try it memorized, check your mistakes, try it memorized. Only that chunk of music, and I think you will find it goes pretty quickly. Like you should probably be able to get that in a handful of tries, right? So once you have that first chunk memorized, which take as many times as you want, you should be able to play that chunk memorized at least 3 times in a row without messing up. And that's when you know you're ready to move on to the next section, okay? So if you play through it memorized and it's flawless, don't just move on, because what if it's a fluke? Play through it memorized flawless 2 more times before you move on. And if you mess something up, check it and try it again, okay? But once you can play through that first chunk flawlessly a couple times in a row, move on to the next chunk. In the national anthem, that repeats, and it's the same chunk, but just with a different ending, right? Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 that whole thing all over again, just with a different ending. So this, which should be pretty easy to memorize, but same process. Take that second chunk and play through it a couple times with the music, and then repeat the process, right? Don't do it without looking. Check your mistakes, do it again without looking, check any mistakes, do it again until you get it perfectly without looking, and then try it a couple times in a row perfectly, okay? Once you have the second chunk done, memorized, you're going to want to go from the beginning of the song through the second chunk, first with music, because again, we're training our ear to listen for what chunk is what, okay? And then try both chunks together without music. And do that a couple times. Same process of like, okay, I played it with my music and now I tried it memorized. Let me check my mistakes. Try it again, memorized. But now we're doing that with the double chunk. Once you have the first two chunks streamed together flawlessly, moving on to the third chunk, that whole section, okay? Same process. Do it with music, do it without. Do it with music, do it without, until you can do it without multiple times in a row perfectly, okay? And then back to the beginning through the third chunk with music a couple times, and then beginning through the third chunk, no music. Check your mistakes, try it without music, check your mistakes until you can do it 2 or 3 times in a row from the beginning through the third chunk with no music perfectly, okay? Once you have that section done, we move on. In the national anthem, I would just do it one more section. Bum 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 ba da da ba 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 da 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 dum ba 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 bum. Right, that would be the last section for me. Again, you can do shorter chunks if you want, if you feel more comfortable with that. But same process. Memorize just the fourth chunk, okay? Just that last one over and over with, without. And then play the whole song one more time with music, and then try the whole song without music. Check your mistakes, whole song without music, check your mistakes, okay? And then that's it. And you should at that point then have the whole song memorized. Again, every time you try something memorized, don't allow, no matter what step you're in, if you're stringing together sections or if you're still just memorizing one chunk, don't let yourself move on until you can do it 3-ish times in a row, if not more, without messing up, because otherwise you don't really have it memorized and you're not going to help yourself any, okay? But then you should have the whole song and do that process. Like, oh, and the other thing, like when I say don't stop if you mess up, that's for real. Like, don't let yourself, if you mess something up, you got to keep going, because one, in a performance setting, we wouldn't stop and move on. If a kid messes something up, you would just have to get back on. So better to start practicing that now. And two, that's why we check our music afterwards. Like if you play through a chunk and you mess something up, but you just keep going, then you look at the music and you see what you messed up and you can kind of fiddle around with it and fix it and then try it again. Because the goal here is to memorize, right? You should already know the notes and stuff. So if you miss something, it should be because you can't remember what it is, not because you don't know it, if that makes sense. So don't let yourself stop in the middle of a memorized run through. Like, make yourself keep going unless you absolutely fall apart to where it's just not salvageable. And then finally, just last little thing about memorizing music is make sure you retain it then. So let's say today, Tuesday, you decide to go memorize the national anthem. Great. But then let's say you don't play it again for months until band camp. Well, you're not going to have it memorized anymore. It goes so quickly. You have to maintain it. I'm not saying you have to play the national anthem by memory 4 times a day every day, but you should, if you're going to memorize it and you want to keep it memorized for band camp or for the season or whatever, you need to retain it, do it a few times a week at least. Otherwise, you're not going to have it. Marching band kids from the past will tell you, we played all the time at marching band. And then we take a little break there's a pretty decent gap between our last football game and our first basketball game for pep band. And then it always kind of catches us off guard, and the kids usually end up needing music for the national anthem for that first pep band game because it's been a month maybe since they had to play it and they don't have it memorized like they used to. And then they re-memorize it pretty quickly. But my point is, for them, it's 1 month, and a lot of them have been playing it for years and they still have to re-memorize it. So don't sell yourself short with that. You will need to retain and remember over and over again how it goes, okay? And once school starts and band camp starts, with our show, our fight song and everything, we play them enough throughout the school year, throughout the season, that you won't have to really worry about memorizing outside of school after that. But in case you wanted to get a head start on that, I know a lot of you guys, older kids, already have national anthem memorized, fight song memorized. But if you're wanting to start memorizing the show, or if you are new to memorizing and you want to get started with something, that's how we would do it in class. So I hope this was helpful. Again, you can apply this to any piece of music, any level, not just marching band. So let me know if you have any questions or if you need help with anything, and I look forward to talking to you again. Bye.